Hey guys, do you have any idea of who Bob Ross is? Well, if you don't, you'll be very familiar with his work by the end of the segment, because we are doing a Bob Ross tutorial, painting style. It's called alla prima, which is a technique where you apply paint to the previous layer when it is still wet. Paintings like this are usually painted entirely in one session. First, you need to wet the brush and get it wet, and get water all over your canvas. Make sure it is covered completely to make the paint stick better. What I like to do when I start painting is make sure my brush is fairly dry by wiping it off, because too much water in the paint might not make it work as well. I might even add a little more water because I see it's already drying. So, okay. Then, need some yellow. Once you get your brush dry, you're going to want a little bit of your yellow. These are the colors you'll be using. Pretty basic colors. So use this green, get a tiny bit of that, and get mostly yellow. And then just go like that to make sure your brush is fairly empty. To get a good mixture, even a little more yellow. It needs to be very yellow looking. And we're going to draw a circle right there. It's okay if it's not perfectly round. Okay. So next, you might want to even put a tiny bit more yellow if it's a little green like mine. You want to get your green, and this one has to be more green than yellow, slightly. You want it to be very light green. You're going to want to make crisscross strokes like this. See, that's turning out a lot like the circle. You're going to want it even darker. That's too dark. You have to get it just right, like that. Cross strokes. Just keep going. Make sure you have the same mixture, or fairly similar mixture the whole time, and you don't need to rinse your brush between the two steps. This is all with a decently good sized brush, so it shouldn't take too long. And if the circle is starting to fade away kind of, you can add a little more grain, make it a little darker, and then coat it with a little yellow. Like that. Okay, so then you're going to need some blue. Without cleaning your brush, get some blue. You're going to have to clean that off now. Make sure it's clean. You're going to want to go crisscross strokes again. The lighter you can do this, the better. And do you see how the two colors are just blending together? That's the type of technique we're using, where you apply it while it's still wet so it blends better. Sometimes you even get a little of the color you used before it's on here. And see how that's getting very dark? Well, we want it lighter. So I could add some yellow, but that would change the color too much. Oh, and if you just get a bristle like this, you want to get it off. You just use your finger, grab it, just drop it. Oh, here's another one, another loose bristle. Just want to grab it real quick. Get it off there. This brush is an old one, so the bristles are falling off. See, that's getting very dark. Too dark, right? What you're going to do is clean your brush first, so you don't get any paint in your other colors for this step. Dry it off. For this step, I like to take this off and just use my fingers to dry it most of the way, and beat it sometimes. Make sure you get most of the paint off. Then, add a little bit of white, just a tiny bit, to lighten it up. Do you see how little that is? Just all over the whole thing, just little bits. And if you see like white streaks like this, it's okay because they'll dry out. Like, you won't be able to see them when it dries. You want to make sure you don't have too much paint, because if you have too much paint, it's just not going to work. And you have to make sure it's very, very clean, the brush. Make sure there's hardly any. If you get too much, you can just smooth it out too. Like that, and that'll just lighten it up. Oh, there's another blue. That's turning into a very light blue. Might even be called green by some people. It's not really doing anything right now, so I'm just going to get more white. Trying to get the right amount. That's a little too much. But what you can do, clean your brush off once you know it's too much. One side very clean. Maybe even clean your brush. And just dry it real quick. Then while there's still a little water on it, just drag that. A tiny bit more paint. Dry it off. Just like so. Covering all the white spots up. Might even want to add a little down here too. It's very light, so I'm going to add a little more blue to that. Just add a little more blue right there. Oops, see that streak of red right there? That's okay. I can get that out. Right? Just keep stroking it out. Clean the brush. Dry it off real quick. And just spread it then. Just like so. If you can see your brush strokes and you don't like that, just get some water on your brush like you're going to clean it. Get it real nice. Get all that paint out. Real good. Then, let's go over it with some water. And those brush strokes will go right away if you don't like them. See, the center circle's kind of disappearing. So, I'm going to get some yellow and cover it. Just like so. Okay, now for the next step. Okay, now we're going to start with some trees. Now to get this one perfect, what you need to do is get some red or crimson and just a tad bit of blue. And then just, it is perfect. If I don't like that, I might add a little more red. That. Yeah, that's pretty good. So, blue is a lot stronger too. You don't need nearly as much blue if you want to make it darker. So, I think I have the right color. I'm going to just clean the brush off to make sure I don't have too much paint. Now this is how you get the trees. So you go like this. Get your brush just right. You can even set this down to help you get it just right. And then you would just add like bits like this. Sideways strokes sometimes work. See, that's a little blue, so I'm going to grab a little red. Just put a little of that in there. Okay, just like so. It doesn't look like a tree really. It just looks like a, I don't know, something just standing up. Okay, so then, what you're going to do is just keep adding a little more shapes. Just like so. Now for this part, it works best if you can get your canvas dry before you're adding the leaves. So you usually want to do this step and then let your canvas dry a tiny bit. That looks kind of like the outline of a tree. You might want to add a little more down here too. Just dabbing it. Okay, so I'm only going to do one tree. Okay, so then I'm going to clean my brush because I don't want any of this in my leaves. It works best if you can get it to dry first before you add the leaves. But I'm going to attempt to work without drawing the leaves. So, I'm going to clean my brush. It's okay if your hand's dirty. It's just paint. It comes off. Okay. If you could just imagine this being a tree, it will eventually turn into a tree. A beautiful tree. Just imagine it as a tree. And then just add it, and it will become a tree. You have to use a little of your imagination. 2. Okay, so that's one tree. Now, my yellow is really green looking. So, I'm going to grab the yellow paint, which is back here, and add a little bit more yellow to make it look more clean. Because the yellow's looking a lot green. Okay. Then, I'm going to use a different brush now. I'm going to use this brush, just a smaller brush. Shouldn't change too much. Okay, now I'm going to get some yellow and get it clean. Okay, so with it clean then, I'm just going to dab in bits of yellow. Maybe a little bit more yellow, okay? So, just like so. So now do you see the yellow coming in? Okay. So next, what you're going to want to do is see how when you stroke what happens? It starts getting red in it. And now my brush has red, so I'm going to clean it real quick. Just gently. Most of the red out. Dry it real quick. Get some yellow. Just a dab more yellow. It's just going to fade into the leaves. Just gentle fade into the leaves. A little more yellow. See, it's getting red again. I'll clean it off real quick, just gently, nothing special. Okay, now get a little more yellow, add more leaves. More yellow. Yellow is just, if it's turning too dark, just add more yellow. You don't want to add white to this. Okay, so that is how you do a tree, Bob Ross style. With your newly finished painting, and you can add more trees than this if you'd like, you'll be able to show all your friends of what you're truly capable of. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you for watching.